There's many reasons that you can fail, but if you walk into it with the wrong mindset, I mean, you're already setting yourself up for failure. The reality that everybody lies. And when you're like, oh, Jason, no, like, I'm the most honest person. I mean, like, man, quit lying to yourself. The reality is everybody lies. The mistakes were, I'm not going to look at them as regrets. I'm going to look back and reflect and be a little bit introspective and learn from them to apply them to the next. Because one of your biggest jobs is your culture. It is your organizational health. And at the end of the day, it is about your mental health and the mental health of the people that you are working with. And we are back with another episode of the Julius Files. I am your host, Jason Julius, and today I want to go a little bit different direction. I want to talk about relationships, people, and simple truths of success, both in business and life. I don't know. I think that there's a part of me, though, that I feel like I need to clarify that I know my place, I guess is what I'm saying, is that I know what I'm not and what I am. I mean, I come from a blue-collar background. I come from small business. So when I really think about what the kind of information that I want to put out in this podcast, it's like I said, I know my place. The things that I don't really want to talk about are sales and mindset when it comes to the sales side of it. I mean, like, there are far better people out there that talk about sales and have put it into practice and have mastered it to the point that I generally would, consider them like titans of their industry or gurus. And the last thing I want to do is try and regurgitate what they say or somehow try and claim that I've discovered this new way that these like 100 million and billionaires have not discovered. I mean, that would be a little bit crazy. And when we talk about mindset, it's like I think at this point, with the dissemination of information that's out there, with the different mediums that are out there, there's enough people talking about it that I mean, it's just a mindset is, if you don't have the right mindset, like, you're going to fail. You're one of the 99 out of 100 that's going to fail. But there's many reasons that you can fail. But if you walk into it with the wrong mindset, I mean, you're already setting yourself up for failure. And again, one of my mentors and business coaches is really big about mindset in general. So I'm sitting here going, I see other people out there that they're in that space. They're talking about proper mindset, that it's just not something that I really feel like that it's my place or a place where I can actually bring value and talk about it. And I guess when I think about it, it was like, here we go again with the whole name dropping. Do I really want to talk about names in general? But at the end of the day, the whole purpose was, the much the same way a lot of these people put out information for free, that I want to feel like that I'm contributing, that I'm putting out the information that I know for free. So, and don't get me wrong, I'm not undercutting anybody necessarily, but I will name some names in general. Like, if you want to listen to or consume content from somebody, and okay, I'll name 4 of them, and I would say in order of seniority, not necessarily importance one way or the other. But okay, so if you're looking for content, good content, and individuals that are really good when it comes to sales, like Grant Cardone is one of the best. I would say that he is the senior guy. He's cocky, but I'm telling you, if you listen to his audiobooks and you turn it up to 150% on the play, you get the full Cardone effect. The dude really knows his stuff. Then you get to Brad Lee. Brad Lee is really solid himself, and he puts out just a tremendous amount of content. Then you get to Russell Brunson. Russell Brunson is, he does ClickFunnels, and again, just a master at his craft. And then you get to Alex Hormozy, and that dude is awesome. He puts out so much free content that he'll flat tell you he doesn't have anything to sell you. And I will say, while he might be the bottom of the 4 as far as seniority, the dude honestly puts out a lot of solid content in general for you to consume. because the dude's just mastered sales so much that he really truly has nothing to sell you. But when it all comes down to it, like those four guys, I'm gonna be honest, I consume their content myself because they really are masters of their craft when it comes to sales. When it comes to mindset, I mean, I automatically refer to my own mentor and business coach, Dave Meltzer. I mean, like the dude is the master of mindset, and then we've got a friend, and he's another up and comer, Craig Siegel. Again, another that I mean, I told this dude he's probably the coolest cat I know out of New York. I mean, this dude is awesome when it comes to mindset. And again, I mean, I'll talk about mindset from time to time because I put it more into a perspective side, but I don't speak on that kind of stuff because it's not my space. It's not my expertise. It's not something that I spent my day to day. And when it comes down to it, it's like, as a small business, 17 years in business, I mean, what have I mastered? What can I bring to the table as far as value? And a lot of that's got to do with operations and culture and management of people. Because inevitably, if you're actually going to build something, you're going to have to scale. Well, as you scale, you have to scale people, and I've heard a lot of people refer to it as herding cats, and I mean, in many ways, that's definitely what it's like in general. But in any which way, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's what I don't necessarily want to talk about because I don't really feel like I can contribute and add value there. But what I can talk about are relationships and people and core principles of success when it comes to actually executing on your business itself. So I guess I want to, I'll lead on that end of it with everybody leaves, everybody lies. And when it comes to business, it's about being right more than you're wrong. And at the end of the day, 99 out of 100 fail. So when I tell you that everybody leaves and everybody lies, I can make the statement and I'm right because by and large, it's very much true. So when I say everybody leaves, I mean, what I'm talking about is relationships. And the reality is the vast majority of relationships are for a time. Very few relationships, whether in your personal or your business life, are relationships that endure and stand the test of time, and they become 20, 30, 40, 50-year relationships. That's just not how the world works. That's just not reality. And again, I'm not trying to be like sour grapes or anything. I'm just speaking as a realist. I'm speaking as somebody that has went through it, and many times that I've really enjoyed a relationship with somebody. And then in my brain, I will envision sitting across the table from them 10, 15, 20 years later. Because obviously, I mean, I want to see the best in people, and the longer a relationship is, the more fruitful it is because you get to know each other and you're able to feed off of each other. But the reality is, in 47 years of life and 17 years in business, everybody leaves. And I can make that statement and be right 9 out of 10 times. And part of success in business and life is just simply being right more than you're wrong. And it's a fact. And I'm saying it like that because if you get comfortable with it, it's not such a gut punch when they actually leave. And if you look at it through that lens, then you make smart business decisions because you understand that while somebody might be working with you, while you might be managing that relationship well, you never know when or how they're going to come to justifying their own decisions on a day-by-day basis, and then they're going to decide. Honestly, I think everybody gets up at some point every day or every week and says, like, am I going to stick with this project? Am I going to stick with this person? And a lot of the gurus out there will say that, like, you got to have a vision big enough that the people that you're with, that their own personal aspirations and desires fit inside of that vision. So that is a reason for them to justify getting up and coming in and continuing to foster and build that relationship with you on a day-to-day basis. But in business, you can plan, whether it be a 1 month or 12 month or 60-month plan loosely, because plans change, shit gets in the way, people let you down. And inevitably, as an entrepreneur, if you are going to be in business, it is about consistently putting in the work every day, every week, every month, every year, doing the same good habits continually, which is what leads you to success. And People come in and out of that picture, and the more that you can understand and accept that, the more you can make appropriate decisions to not leave yourself open for loose ends when the people that come into your life that help you move the ball forward to rationalize in their own manner for whatever reason that they're going to go a different direction, that it doesn't leave you out there and exposed because you reconciled in your head from day one. Everybody leaves. So I have really been a big proponent of, I try not to take on any initiative that I cannot have at least two people or the other person and myself involved, so that if on any given day somebody wakes up and gets squirrely and decides that they're going to go another direction, I don't have an initiative out there hanging out in the wings with nobody able to pick up on it, because I have at least two people that have interacted in the process, and the ball is able to be picked up by somebody else and continue moving forward. And the reality is, when we are a world where connectivity and relationships are, I believe like that's a lot of the purpose of our time on earth, is that connectivity and relationships. But if you will get into your head the reality that relationships are not forever, that everybody leaves, then it's not such a gut punch when those relationships inevitably break up. You appreciate them for what they were, and you move on throughout your life without wallowing in the misery of the loss, because you don't need to. You need to just appreciate it for what it was. Now, I'm not going to deny that in your personal relationships, I lost my son. Like, no parent should have to bury their child. That's a different type of everybody leaves, and that's a gut punch that just, like, it takes time to get over that kind of stuff. There are some unnatural things that just shouldn't happen, that you just cannot prepare for. But my point being, in business, if you are preparing and knowing that while it's a good relationship, it could end at any moment, and you make decisions based accordingly, then you're not left out there wondering how to pick up the pieces, because your job as the leader and as the entrepreneur is to continue to move that ball forward every day. Okay, so being a realist, then let's get into reality. The reality that everybody lies. And when you're like, oh, Jason, no, like, I'm the most honest person. Man, quit lying to yourself. The reality is, everybody lies. Whether you are lying by omission, whether you are just flat lying through your teeth, whether you are holding back and not saying everything that needs to be said, like, everybody lies on some level. I am a big believer in honesty, brutal if necessary, and I go out of my way to not lie, because as soon as you lie, you end up having to remember that lie and keeping your story straight, and sooner or later it gets exposed. So I am going to sit here and say that the vast majority of the time, like, you will not catch me in a lie, because I don't lie, because I would rather endure the pain of the honesty, even if it actually hurts feelings. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I never lie. More often than not, I feel like I lie by omission. I will leave things out because either I deem them that they are either not appropriate, or they do not have any determining or relevance to the actual conversation itself, and nothing good will come out of it. So I just leave it out. But the reality is, time to time, you're going to find yourself caught in a position between people. And if you look back and you're honest with yourself, everybody lies. And the question is, how big is the lie? When and where did you catch them with the lie? How much damage did the lie itself do? And how much trust did it violate when you catch somebody in that lie? The reason that I'm saying this is because you do have to take it in context. Like, we are all, whether you look at it, and it doesn't matter what God you worship, like, we are all sinners. Okay, we are all liars. And when you get to it and looking at it that deep, every 2 and every 4 years, I know people that will go to the hilt to do anything they can to push for you to vote for their candidate. And every single one of them pushing for you to vote for somebody knows that those people are professional liars. And the reason I'm saying that is because if you can reconcile taking time out of your actual day to push somebody or to try and influence somebody to vote for a known liar, then in your own mind, you're reconciling that person is somebody worth supporting, even knowing that they're an actual liar. So apply that to your personal life. Apply that to your personal world. Apply that to your employees and your business surroundings. Accept the fact that everybody lies. So when you catch somebody in a lie, you got to size it up and really think about just how big of a deal is it. But is it an absolute, I caught them in a lie, so that it's an exact reason to actually trash the relationship? No, I think not. I mean, I've seen many marriages that they catch each other in lies, and there's a big argument, and then they're able to reconcile that, okay, I can look past this, so the relationship gets rekindled. Well, that applies to friendships, that applies to business, that applies to your customers, that applies to your employees. So my point is, don't go going off the deep end when you catch somebody in a lie. Size it up, be rational about it, think about it. Don't make emotional decisions, because if you are a realist, you know everybody lies. So that is not the place to burn a bridge. Don't die on that hill, because you have accepted up front everybody leaves and everybody lies. Okay, so when you are literally talking about the principles of success and business, like this is a game of numbers. Like, you can make the math lie, but when you're being honest with yourself, like, numbers don't lie. You have 10 decisions to make. As long as 6 of those decisions are the right decisions, you're going to come out on the winning of the deal, because you made 4 bad decisions and 6 good decisions. So it really truly is a general principle and premise in life that if you want to be successful in life or business, you just simply have to make more good decisions than bad decisions. You just simply have to be right more than you're wrong. And I'm not going to deny, like I said in previous podcasts and in my life in general, like, the mistakes that I made in the first 5 years took me 6 years to pay for, and I lived in a 15 by 15 box that I will never go back to, because I was wrong more than I was right. I made more bad decisions than good decisions in the first 5 years, and it took me 6 years past that to actually pay for those mistakes. But the reality is, I can look back and say, while in that time of my life I was wrong more than I was right, I was able to rebound, and I carry a certain confidence and battle-testedness now, because I know that I'm right more than I'm wrong, because I have learned, because I've looked back, and the little wins themselves were cool, nice win, and the mistakes were, I'm not going to look at them as regrets. I'm going to look back and reflect and be a little bit introspective and learn from them to apply them to the next, to put one foot in front of the other. Because I want to tell you a secret about entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs. What are 2 things that we do not pay attention to? We do not pay attention to the small wins, and we do not pay attention to the failures. Why? Because the small wins should just be chalked up and the failures should be lessons. What we as successful entrepreneurs pay attention to are what you call problems, and we look at as opportunities. We look, those opportunities to solve problems are ways of advancing monetarily, are ways of building something and scaling something, because we find that it's a problem for many, which means it's a profitable endeavor to go down when we can actually solve those problems in general. So the simple fact is, when you are looking at life, don't get hung up on the wins and be patting yourself on the back. That leads to arrogance, and as soon as you lead to arrogance, then you stop working because you think you've got it dicked, and then somebody else comes along and eats your lunch. And don't be paying too much attention to the losses and the failures, because then you start looking at it as regret. The regret leads to depression. The depression leads to paralyzation. Then all of a sudden, again, you're locked up and somebody else is passing you by because they didn't let it affect them mentally that way. Pay attention to what other people view as problems, because as an entrepreneur, you're going to view them as opportunities, and solving those problems is what actually gets you paid. So at the end of it all, when I look at the business that I've built, it has been about serving people and about solving problems. And at the end of it all, what I'm trying to get at is that when you find a problem that you're going to solve, when you find a business that you're going to build, well, then you have to scale with people. And like trying to herding cats, and I've said it before in previous podcasts, because you got to look at like you eyes wide open. If you're actually going to start a business, you are inviting internal problems. Why? Because trying to herd cats, trying to get these personalities to work together, like it's no easy task, where they said if it was as easy as it looked, everybody would be doing it. I'm telling you, when you look at yourself in the mirror and you got a plethora of problems, you can I can solve this, I can solve this, I can solve this, because you have control of your own mind. You come to your own rationale, your own conclusions, you step forward to fix it. When you got a problem inside of an organization, well, you don't have control of somebody else's mind. You don't have control of somebody else's actions, of how they rationalize things. So it is a constant communication, and it is about what kind of culture you're actually going to breed inside of your own organization. Like, I am a big proponent of don't try and sweep shit under the rug, because it makes you look shady. It's not anything that garners any respect or trust. So more often than not, as the leader of your business and culture, it's upon you. It behooves you to have those hard conversations, to make sure that you're not going to let them get swept under the rug. Why? Because one of your biggest jobs is your culture. It is your organizational health. And at the end of the day, it is about your mental health and the mental health of the people that you are working with, that you are collectively trying to move a ball forward. Because obviously it's not hard to deduce as an entrepreneur. I mean, like, you've got those solopreneurs, but they will never get as far as an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurs get people together to come together as a team to move a ball forward. And a team will always kick an individual's ass. So I am a big believer in having a culture of honesty, of having a culture of accountability, of having a brutal if necessary, because the more honest you are, I'm one of those guys where I'll be like, I'll never stab you in the back, and I'll never come at you sideways. I'll always come at you head on, because at the end of the day, I want the level of respect of somebody saying, this dude won't play games. He won't stab you in the back. If he has a problem with you, he's going to come at you head on. You always know where you stand with him. And that gets past all the shady shit. That allows you to address the root of problems. That allows you to hold other people accountable, because they see you'll hold yourself accountable, that you are not going to go out of your way to lie and sweep shit under the rug. You're actually going to try and have a relationship with people and a culture that says, we are about being honest with each other. And then like I said, everybody leaves, because you're going to find some people that they don't mesh with that they're too sensitive, that their feelings get hurt, that they can't handle being called out for their bullshit. No problem. Let them go somewhere else and find another place to fit in. I'm here to tell you, if you're trying to actually build a business on an honest culture, if you're trying to bring people together to move a ball forward, you need them to be able to be honest with each other, so that you can get past all of the drama that comes out of the emotions that will inevitably happen, and be able to move faster, because that is just simply one of the tools that a small business has up against a big corporation. Corporations have got big levels of bureaucracy in them, and you're able to cut all of that out and get to decisions faster and move faster. And I'm not going to tell you that a small business has any real advantage over big business. I'm saying it has tools that it needs to utilize in order to be able to be competitive and carve out your slice of the pie. And at the end of it, it's about creating loyalty inside of your organization, and about creating a loyal customer base, so that it makes it harder for those big businesses to cut into your piece of the pie, because they have such a massive piece of the pie that piece by piece you can shave off your slivers, because you find their customer base that are on the fringes, that you're able to move faster to get to a decision, move faster to offer a service that accommodates those individuals, and it peels them away from the actual big business itself. Okay, so why am I saying all of this? nobody wants to hear that everybody leaves and everybody lies. I'm just being a realist, and a realist just gives you honest facts about, like, there's nothing wrong with looking at utopia. There's nothing wrong with looking at your ideals. They can be a guiding light for trying to move forward in general. But we still got to come back to reality, because that utopia and that guiding light, like, that's not reality today. That's in the future. So that's what you want to, that's what you want to try and move towards, but you still have to accept the reality that we exist in today. And I am all about the we, that we as a team have to move forward. But would you rather be on a team where you know where everybody stands and you understand your strengths and your weaknesses and your teammates' strengths and weaknesses, and knowing that you guys have a level of where when you got a problem with each other, you're able to bring it to the table and air it out? Or would you rather be on a team and a culture where everything gets swept under the rug and there's a bunch of backbiting and you don't know who you can trust because everybody would rather play politics and they're willing to step on each other, like, and put knives in your back? And I'm one of those people that I'll tell you, like, they say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I'm sitting here telling you what doesn't kill you leaves scars. And at the end of the day, it is about, like, I've got plenty of knives in my back, and most of them were my fault because I allowed myself to think about, oh, surely this person wouldn't do this. They've been around me a year. Well, I'm here to tell you, people will do crazy shit after a year. They'll do. I mean, I have had dozens of people that have been around me for years, and they will rationalize for the weirdest reasons as to why they no longer want to be beside you. I mean, I've had girls that have been on my team for 3, 4, and 5 years, and they just simply decided that their hormones were raging and they wanted to chase boys. So the priority of actually working inside of a business was no longer important to them. So they decided to go chase boys. I mean, my point being, like, it can be, like, of no fault of your own. It doesn't necessarily have to be anything that happens in your organization. Life happens. That's the reality of life and living. So just simply understand, sometimes by no fault of your own, the people that you think are going to be with you forever, they're not. So accept it, make appropriate business decisions, because as the leader, as the entrepreneur, you still have to plan for the unplannable. And part of that is making decisions along the way to make sure that you don't leave yourself exposed. Okay, why am I saying all of this? Because to me, this is a healthy perspective. There is a certain something about what I'm saying that allows you to have certain boundaries, that allows you to have certain realities, that allows you to have certain core principles that you're able to tell people that they will respect and they will understand. Why? Because you're being honest. It's easier to look at somebody that's been with you for a couple years and be like, man, I appreciate you, and I hope that you're sitting across the table from me in another 5, 10, 15 years. But the reality is most people don't. And at the end of it, because I'm coming to the point of wrapping this up, like, I want to dedicate this podcast to my mentor, Mick Owens. Like, I don't know that I'll ever get him on the podcast. At this point, he's definitely very deep into his golden years. But this man in business built a multi-billion-dollar money management, wealth management, retiring planning business. And I remember, I'm saying about 10 years ago, I looked at him and I said, Mick, I'll never leave your side, and I'll never screw you. And he dropped his head and he said, please don't say that to me. And I asked why. And he said, because every person that has ever said that to me has walked away from me and stabbed me in the back. And I said, say no more. I will show you with my actions. And the reason that I'm dedicating this to him is because this man has been in my life 13, 14 years now. I still feel the same way about this man as the day that I met him. I knew that he had so much knowledge and information to impart on me. I knew that I felt like to me, that this man is probably the most righteous man that's ever walked the earth in my time that I have had the pleasure of knowing and learning from. He has helped me. There are times where I was in positions that, in order for him to help me, like he could have taken a percentage of my company. He never did, because he was genuine and he taught me the principles of high character, and he showed me with his actions that he had nothing but a desire to help me, to be a good steward to me, to help me mentor me in a manner that was simply about living a life of high character and doing the right thing, even when it wasn't the right thing for you personally, and enduring pain when it was just simply about doing the right thing so that you could live with yourself, look at yourself in the mirror. And I live by a core set of principles in life that I'm not expecting everybody to deal with or to accept. That's how I live my life. That's how I look at myself in the mirror. And in this day and age, finding that type of loyalty and finding people that will not necessarily give lip service, but will actually show it in their actions, like, it's a rarity in life. But I will still sit here today and say that Mick has been a great mentor to me, and I have never said anything more to him about whether I stood beside him or how I felt about him to the point that I would never screw him. I just showed in my actions my loyalty to this man, and in my decision making, like, Mick is a very godly man, and he is somebody that he has an event center where he has weddings and whatnot, but he won't allow alcohol in there. He doesn't think anything good comes from alcohol. So anybody that knows him knows, like, he has absolutely nothing to do with alcohol. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't drink a cocktail, but I will tell you that because my name is associated with his, I made a very clear commitment to myself that I would not actively get involved in any type of business or operation that sold alcohol. Why? Because I felt like my name is attached to his, and I know how strongly he feels about this. So this is something that I have stayed away from, because I've had opportunities to get involved in businesses, but alcohol was one of the leading pieces of the revenue, and I made a commitment to myself that I would never associate with that kind of business, because I knew I was already associated with this man, and it's very important to me to show him how loyal I am, how much I appreciate his mentorship. So in that respect, I do want to dedicate this to him, because sooner or later, and I hope that it's later, because as I've told him, he still has so much more information, so much more that he can teach me, that I wish that I could just consume all of his time, because I want him to impart all of the knowledge that I know that I still haven't gotten a chance to get from him. But the reason that he does take his time with me is because I have showed him that I have nothing but the best interest of the relationship at heart, and that is more shown by actions than it is words itself. But I'm telling you, I'm right 9 out of 10 times, so I can make these by and large statements and tell you I'm right, both personally and professionally. Everybody leaves and everybody lies. And when you find that person that doesn't leave, okay, well, then be grateful. You found that person that doesn't leave. But I'm telling you, it doesn't matter how well you pay them. You will find people, and I've had people that have found their own way to rationalize themselves leaving, even though it was a very high-paying job. Like, don't think that you've found the one secret sauce that says, I'm going to do this, and because of this, people are not going to leave my side. Like, you're fooling yourself Quit lying to yourself, because everybody leaves and everybody lies. And the quicker that you understand and accept that reality, the better decisions that you can make in business, and the better you will be prepared for when people actually do decide to leave. All right. That is my podcast for today. Again, all of it was said and meant to be helpful when it comes to being successful in life, or building your business and your culture and scaling to success. So if I said anything that resonates, please share the show. If you know somebody that needs to hear it, again, please share the show. All right. Till next time, you guys have a good night.